going on? What's going on? What's going on, fam? Alright, it says my service is kind of low here, so we'll see how it goes. Definitely let me know in the chat if there's some issues. I got some light music playing in the back, but I don't think you guys can hear it. So we'll see how that goes. Just double checking the stream. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Making sure this is all good. Do I sound mad far? Mad low? Mad far? I don't know. You tell me. Do I sound mad far? All right. All right, cool. I think we're good. I think we set up. Appreciate y'all jumping in with me. You already know. Hashtag don't forget to pay. You don't gotta like the video, but if you like the video, you might as well like the video. You know what I'm saying? All right. We're just gonna go through some streams. If you're in the Discord, you can throw some things out in the Discord too. I don't know if Skrill's in here, Sniper, but if you want to hop on, bro, I'll send you a little invite. You can hop on too and show some things. Okay, Houston said sounding all right. There we go. He's sounding all right. So we good. Appreciate you, my brother. Sunday morning, you know, we're going to just stretch it out. The Eagles trying to represent. Finally doing something good in Philly. Hopefully the Sixers can do the same. All right, but enough about all that. Today is going to be really laid back, real chill. I'm just going through some charts, right? So I'm just going through Bitcoin. I've had the same chart charted out for some time now, and it's been holding up relatively okay. I'm going to go through the DXDY or DXY, the Dixie, which is just a dollar versus other currencies, right? To see if that continues to go up. Hey, Tyler's in the building. Okay, Bird Gang, we see you. Shout out to Tyler, man. I'm excited to meet him coming up in November. So, my guy, shout out. I really appreciate you tapping in and jumping in. All right, so without further ado, we'll cut into it. Let me throw the screen up here. And so for the people that have been with me for a little bit, you know that we made this chart back after this first drop and the second retest. So this chart was made in July, at the beginning of July. So at the beginning of July, we had our look for longs box set up. We had our pullback zone after this move up right here. Let me grab an arrow. So right here in July is where we created all these boxes, and that gave us our range. Right after this pullback, we created our box up top, our look for shorts box, because we know with market structure, in the strong uptrend, we're going to have something like this where the price is going up, slight pullback, continues up, right? And it just continues on. And we know that, sorry, give me 1 second here, boom. This would be our low, this point right here, this is the low. Then it comes up and makes a high, it comes down, and this is called a higher low. And then it continues up to make a higher high, right? So again, when you're charting, just like this is right here, right? So this would be the low, same as this is the low. This would be the low. It comes up and puts in a high, right? So it comes up and puts in a high. Then it puts in a higher low, meaning that this low is higher than the previous one, right? So a higher low, and then it ultimately continues up and puts in a higher high, just like this is. So this little pattern right here is called positive market structure. Market structure to the upside. It's what that's what you always want to see, right? And then you just want to see that continued and continued and continued. So for example, we have a low, a high, a higher low, a higher high, a higher low, a higher high, a higher low, a higher high, right? And you can see that is up and to the right. That's what you want charts to look like. You want them to be up and to the right if you're bullish, right? If you're going long, if you want to hold it for the long term. All right, so now that we have that quick intro out the way, and I'll leave this here just to kind of give that idea. We got the low, the high, the higher low, and the higher high. This is what you always want to see. And opposite of that, when stocks or any asset is moving to the downside, you have your high, you come in and put a low, then you put in a lower high, and then a lower low, right? And then a lower high, and then a lower low. Oops, there we go. And we'll change that color to red. So to the downside, the structure should look like this. To the upside, the structure should look like this, right? And now we'll go to another chart that's not as marked up just to make it a little bit easier to see. Let me grab something like, this is Bitfinex, cool. Again, we're on a daily time frame. So really quick, remember, if you are on a hourly time frame, and Sorry, I gotta use these arrows to make it easier. So this hour, so where it says 1H, 1 hour, when you're on an hourly time frame, that's going to give you the indication of what's going to happen from the next 2 to 8 hours, right? And when you're on a 1 hour time frame, it's looking forward, you're charting forward to look at the next 2 to 8 hours, right? When you're on a 4 hour time frame, you're charting forward to look for the next 8 to 12 and possibly 24 hours on a 4 hour time frame. You could even extend that a little bit longer. And when you're on a daily time frame, you're looking to see what's going to happen over the next 3 to 7 days, right? So just really quick, just to make sure you understand that. And when you're on a 1 hour time frame, you're looking ahead to see what's going to happen within the next 3 to 8 hours, right? When you're on a 4 hour time frame, you're looking ahead to see what could happen over the next 4, 12 to 24 hours. I would say closer to the next 24 hours. And when you're on a daily time frame, you're looking to see what's going to happen ahead within the next 3 to 7 days, right? So we're going to look at a 4 hour and daily for the most part, but I think we're going to start out on a daily. Again, with the time frames, the higher time frame you look at, the better results you usually tend to get. All right, so just like we were talking about Bitcoin and that market structure earlier, we can see just really quick, we had our low here, right? This was our low, high, higher low. It's alive. We're having some issues, I think. So we're having some tech issues over here, but I think we're back. I don't really need that. Sorry about this, guys. Give me 1 second. Windows. All right, my apologies. It looks like we're back for now, though, so we'll see what's going on. All right, so we talked about higher highs, higher lows. Let's get into it before we have any more tech issues. So we're going to draw out pretty much the same thing that we already had drawn out. So I got my favorite tools listed here on the bottom. We're going to grab a rectangle down here, and we're going to take all this wick area, right? So all this area that was a wick, because we don't want to see the price break down lower than that previous low. So this is our current wick, and now let's take our same box to the high side. Again, we're taking it from these wicks. All right, cool. So now we have a range defined, right? We have our range defined, and now let's go ahead and throw on a Fibonacci from this last swing high here to this swing low. So this is the move we're looking at from here down to here. And that's where we're going to run our fib from. We're going to run our fib from this high point to this low point. So we grab our Fibonacci retracement. We start at this high point, swing down to these low wicks down here. Cool. And remember, fib levels are not, it's not a guarantee. It just gives us something to work off. It gives us an area of interest. So our first area of interest is going to be the 618 right here. And we're going to mark that off red. Now, if you have a question of like why are we doing this or what the situation is, for me, I like to use fib retracements. I think they're a strong indicator, a strong tool to use. And the 618, so if you double click on your fib retracement, the tool, it pops up and you get style, coordinates, visibility. So under style, I usually take off anything extra, right? So this 236, take that off. I leave the 382, I leave the 5, and I leave the 618. And sometimes they'll have this one already turned on, so I turn that one off. And basically, I'm just looking for these three 618.5. I also add from 0.618, I add the 0.65, and they call that the golden pocket. You don't have to do that. It's just what I personally like to do. All right, and that gives us this chart here. And then oftentimes you can also take off the 0 and the 1. It's just kind of just so it doesn't mess you up. And now I delete this. Right, and the whole reason I did that is because I just wanted to look for an area that we might face natural resistance. Remember, anytime the candles are below where you're looking at, it's resistance. Candles are above, it's support. So with that being said, this box right here is acting as an S. It is acting as support right now. And comparatively, this box up top is acting as a R, right? It's acting as resistance right now. Uh-oh, there we go. Bang, bang. All right, so now that we know that, where is our danger zone? Well, our danger zone is we're going to move this box. We're going to slide it up to the bottom of these wicks, or bottom of these candles, like that. And so our danger zone is these wicks, right? If the price breaks below our previous wick low, then that usually indicates more downside to come. Usually indicates more downside to come. So I don't know about you guys, but for me personally, I like to just throw in little notes for myself because I tend to be forgetful at times. So I'll just throw in danger. So now we got danger set up if we go below this wick. And I'll even throw this arrow kind of over here like, hey, it's dangerous if it goes below there. All right, easy enough, easy enough. Okay, so should we talk about the positive or negatives first? Probably bad news first, right? So let's talk about what happens if the price action does break below our current S, which is support, and breaks below our wick low, which puts us in the danger zone. And to do that, we need to go back and see what happened the last time price visited this area. So look how zoomed in we were because we were just speaking about this, but now we're going to mark off some areas of support from previously, which are pretty, once you've been doing it for a little while, it's not so hard. We're going to draw a horizontal line. Why is that support? Because price came down to this level previous and held and bounced, previous held, bounced, and then even over here, it held after it pushed up once. All right, so you can see here it was resistance, and then once the candles got above it, it turned into support. And then it supported here and supported here. And so let's look at a few other spots. So this was 2017. The price is sitting almost right on that line. So let's go ahead and throw in, draw a horizontal line there. But we are going to change this to a dotted line. Cool. And another area, right? This top was resistance. So let's throw in another line. Remember what happens once the candles get above this line, once the candles get above a line of resistance, it becomes support. So naturally, another area that we could look to if the price continued to fall would be back to around this area, which is about 14K. And then let's see if we can find any other ones in that 2017 move. This is a little one right around 17.5, but that's kind of where we're already sitting at. I'll throw it in there. All right, now fast forward back to where we are now. And let's zoom in. I'm going to get rid of this, kind of distracting. Oops, not that. That. Let me go back. All right. So the first level we want to watch if we do break this support box is going to be 17,000 even. If we do break 17,000 even, then we have a little bit of a range between 17 and 14K. And let's look for any pause points in between there. So the last one between 17 and 14 would be right here. Right, so we'll throw a dashed line in there. Again, because the price broke up, held down as resistance, and then once it got above it, it held it up as support. Right, same thing here for this line. Price broke up, ran into resistance, came back down, held it as support, back up into resistance, and then it finally broke through that resistance, right? So just for example, as I was doing with the other ones, this right here would be another area because of this pause point right there. But we're not going to worry about that because it's out of our range right now. All right. So now that we understand why we're putting in these supports and resistances, let's continue just to look what could happen with price action to make this be a reality. All right. So we got our support box right now. Price action, PA, price action has been moving to the downside, right? Remember when we talked about this, where it went from, it's making lower highs. So that's pretty much exactly what's happening here, right? If we kind of pull this over, price comes down here. It makes a little bounce right here. Then it comes back down here. Sideways action, no bounce, comes down here. Finally get a bounce before price continues back down. And so when you look at that, this was the low point or a high point. They came and made a low, a lower high, a lower low, a lower high, a lower low. This is actually a higher high, but ultimately broke back down to a lower low. So that market structure is indicating that we're going to continue down, or we're still in down. So if we continue down, where could we look for a turnaround? Well, I personally, I'm looking to buy anything inside of this range. Right, so this is a buy zone for me. Anything inside of this green box, because it's held as support many times before, right? Like we already talked about. Price held as support right here, price held as support right here. If we go back a little bit, held as support, held as support, held as support, right? So this 17.5 is the ultimate low right now, right here, this wick. Well, ultimately 18.6, 18,400, 18,600. The price has continually held there and started to bounce there. So now that we know that, we can make an educated decision, right? We can say that if the price comes back into this buy zone, it would be, looking back at recent history, on the smarter side to buy these zones. And then guess what? We can sell if it reaches our danger zone. So this is just called a long short position here. So this is just showing a long short. Remember, we said this was our first area of interest, this red line. And then we have our danger zone, anything under these wicks over here. So I say all that to say that if you were to buy at the bottom of this rectangle, right? So say price does actually, it bounces around and then it does come into our buy zone. And this is where we buy. As long as the price doesn't break into new lows, see this low, as long as it doesn't break into new lows, then, and it holds, this is support, then we can look to take profit once it reaches back up to our first area to watch. And if you look at this ratio, that gives us a 2.5 ratio. So for every, let's say, $100 we would put up for this trade, we would get back 250. So not terrible, not the best ratio, but not terrible. Now again, this was just our first line. Now let's look at our next line that we would want to take profit at, and that would be back to the top of our box, and that gives us more of a 5.6 to 1. So for every $100 we spend, we would get back $500. So that's, you know, much more interesting in that proposition. Again, this is a low risk to reward. This is what you want to see with setups, right? Before you just go in, you know, gung-ho and just like, oh yeah, it's about to go to the moon. Look at the asset, look at the market structure of the asset, and then make an educated decision. And for, like I said, for me, for this one, it's not, you know, a terrible decision because our risk is limited as if it breaks into a new low, right? So if it broke under this new low, then we would close our position. And if we just kind of run right now, that is only about 4%, right? So if you put up $100, you're risking losing 5% of it, so $5, compared to possibly making, if we go long here and it goes up to this first one, 15%, or all the way at the top, you know, 32%, right? So putting in $100, not the worst situation there. Now again, this long short is for futures trading, so it's not the same if you're buying spot, but we can talk about that another day. All right. So that was our first thing. Our market structure is showing to the downside, but opposite of that, we do have it going to the downside into a big support zone. So if that support zone holds, that would be a great time to buy, and then watch the price swing back to the upside ultimately. So that's for Bitcoin. The first bad news would be us going under 17.5. If we go under 17.5, some areas to look out for, and we'll mark them off with these call out sticks, would be 17,000, well, which is already 17.5, so not a big one. We'll go down 15,500, and then if we have even more capitulation, then the price could ultimately move down towards like 13.8. Me personally, I think that the lows are, maybe they're not in yet, but they're getting close to being in. So I have been dollar cost averaging. As you guys know, I told you about Coinbase. I don't think Coinbase is the best exchange, but if you have a cold storage wallet, what you would do is you would set up direct deposit. You can set up direct deposit into your Coinbase account where every time you get paid, You know, every Friday you get paid. It just pays you in Bitcoin or it pays you in Ethereum. It doesn't have to be your whole check, but maybe you do 5%, 10%, 20%, whatever's comfortable with you. That's been working well for me because I don't think about it. It just comes out of my check and it sits over there. And at the end of every month, I transfer those funds from Coinbase to my ledger to hold in my personal possession, right? Because obviously if you leave funds on a centralized exchange, you're not in control, and you always want to be in control of your assets. All right, said a lot there. So now let's get into some of the lower cap coins, right? The ones that you might be able to have higher gains. Remember this, the big thing about this whole entire situation is the danger zone. If Bitcoin goes under the danger zone, then most likely we want to get out of that asset. If it comes into our buy zone and we buy, and then it breaks into the danger zone, then we most likely sell for a small loss. If it comes into our buy zone and we buy, and then it moves back up towards where we want, then we got a great entry. So let's go through some of these altcoins. Remember, the crypto market is pretty much only focused on Bitcoin as far as how they're going to react to news. If there's good news about XRP or good news about AVAX or good news about Cardano or Solana, they do have reactions, but those reactions are not sustained unless Bitcoin is in a nice trending posture, right? And current posture has been to the downside. So we want to see that posture reverse, right? So just like, and I know I'm going to drill this into your head. I get repetitive about it, but it really is what gave me my best edge is understanding market structure. So we had that low, comes up, makes a high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, right? So that's exactly what we want to see. And if we go back to something like, if I pull up a stock really quick and we go towards maybe like the S&P, where's the S&P at? Give me 1 second, or we'll just do the NASDAQ on a daily. Okay, so you see this up and to the right, right? So I'm just really trying to drive home market structure really quick. And to do that, I'm just going to show again. This was the low, right? And it comes up and puts in a little high right here. Then it comes in and puts in a little low right there. And now it moves back up to a little high here and a little low there. And then a higher and a little low, and then it goes higher. And then it finally breaks down market structure. So that would be one example, right? So high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. That's what we want to see with the price continuing to the upside. And then, you know, there's several examples just in this little, you know, right here. So we have our low, can put in high, higher low, sideways for the most part, higher high, higher low. Sideways, it might have put in a lower low, but ultimately comes and puts another higher high, higher low, you know, higher high, higher low. You can see it just moving, the price is just moving up and to the right. And so that's what we want to see, that price moving up and to the right. So let's go back to Bitcoin really quick. Uh-oh, I forget what chart I was on, so give me 1 second. Is this it? Nope. There we go. The danger zone. All right, so if Bitcoin can reverse right here, so it has been putting in downside movements, downside market structure. If Bitcoin can reverse and start to put in that upside market structure, then this will be an excellent time to buy. And the reason again being because it came in and put in this low here. And so right now, we're putting in this low to a high, to a higher low, to a higher high. And right now we're at a higher low. So if the price can bounce from here and continue to move to the upside, that would be great. But even if it pulls back into the buy zone, you know, we're good as long as it doesn't break into our danger zone. So let's go through some altcoins and see if there's any altcoins that we can watch out for. We'll call out price points and then we'll check back next Sunday and see if any of them hit. And you can throw it in the chat if there's any specific ones you want me to check out. But I'm just going to kind of go through the list here that I have. I usually do about 4 to 5. So let's get into it. Let's do some different ones. This time we'll do Atom. We haven't done Atom in a while. So look if we have anything from the last time. Again, we're on a daily time frame. Look at this market structure. See, this is exactly what I was talking about with positive market structure. Price just making higher highs and higher lows. High, low, high, low, high, low, high, low. Right? So here's low, high, low, high, low, high, low. And you just want to see that rhythm. Now the price went all the way up to our box where it met resistance. Remember, if the candles are underneath our boxes, it's natural resistance to hold it down. So the candles moved up towards the boxes. They got rejected. You can see that rejection right there, and they've been moving back down. But you can see this previous top is where they're kind of hanging out at. So let's go ahead and throw in this trend line. And the reason, again, why this trend line is important is because the price was moving up, moving up, moving up, and then it had this huge breakout right here. See these green candles, boom, 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 that huge breakout. It pulled back and it held that area, another bounce, pulled back, held the area, and it just broke down under it while it's sitting on it right now. So we want to see if it's going to continue up or ultimately pull back down to some of these areas around this area. All right. Now, I use a fib tool. I'm going to throw in another support here. Let me change this up real quick. I use my fib. I really like the fib. So what we're going to do with the Fibonacci tool, if you don't know what that is, on the top left over here, fib retracement, it's this first one. And when you click that, you want to run a fib from the bottom from this area. So I'm going to click down here and I'm just going to drag up and then click up here. And then that'll give me some pullback areas to watch. So let's do that. Click there, up to this top point right there. Cool. And then you see we got our golden pocket. Let's go ahead and mark that golden pocket off as an area to watch. And we'll change the color of that to green. Oops, that's not what I wanted. There we go. All right, so why are these green and red? Because red, this is acting as resistance. This line is acting as resistance. We need to break above it. The green line is acting as support, meaning if we do fall back down, if we do get rejected and we come back down, we want to look to try to enter a trade either at this line here or at this line here. And then where would we have our stop loss? Just kind of similar to what we did with Bitcoin, right? Let's say we entered early and we entered here. Then we would want our stop to be down here underneath this last wick and our take profit to be up here above this. And that'll give us that 2-to-1 that we're looking for, or more is always good, but this is just something to watch for. This is how we do our charting, right? So now let's say that the price does come down all the way down to this yellow line. Then we would just move our entry down to here. Let's say our take profit goes to the bottom of the box, but our stop loss is still underneath where we previously got in. So watching Adam, let me run this fib one more time, double check. 618 is cool. Bouncing off the 382. It actually looks pretty strong. Like, this is one of the stronger altcoins out there right now. If we mark off just where it is from when it started to make that change, and when I say change, I just mean change in market direction. So do that. Make this a 4. Okay, so that was June 18th. And since June 18th, the price has moved up. What we got here? It went up 177%. And then it's pulled back. So now it's up 110%. So it's still up double from where it was in June, which is pretty impressive. Again, market structure is going to the upside, pretty impressive. Let me throw on a RSI. So this is called a stochastics RSI. RSI just means relative strength index. When the RSI is below 20, that usually means that is oversold. Again, oversold just means that more people are selling it than really should, right? The market is acting irrational towards this asset because it's underneath the 20 RSI. So you see the 20 over here, and you see that dotted line, and it was under it here. So if we look in June, so it was actually in the middle, so it wasn't like very apparent that it was like time to buy or anything. But when we look over here recently, in the beginning of October 2nd, the RSI was bottomed out. And the RSI has moved all the way to the upside with the price not really doing anything. So it's something to keep an eye on. Just something to be mindful of. If you see that the price is sitting right on the support level, for example, let's say the price was like sitting like right here, and the RSI happened to also be down there, and Bitcoin was starting to look bullish, then that would be like a check, 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 right? That would say check, it's on a support mark. Check, the RSI is oversold, meaning that should reverse at some point. And then also check that Bitcoin leads the market. Again, the altcoins react to what Bitcoin does. So if Bitcoin is trending up well, or starting to look like its structure is going to trend up well, and you see a setup like this for altcoins, and that usually would be a good indication of to get in. To risk to reward right now for Atom specifically isn't the best, only because, again, if we're going to do a long swing, then our stop has to be underneath our last low, and then our take profit is going to be at our first box here, and then our next take profit wouldn't be until up here around 32. But let's go ahead and put in a note. Oh shoot, let's go ahead and put in a note for Atom, and these are the notes that we'll check back. So shorthand this note will say, need to see the numbers here. So on support, it's actually on the 0.382 support. RR, risk to reward, not the best currently. Wait for pullback to 8.5. Again, 8.5 because this is 8.49, which is 8.5, right? So if we get a pullback to 8.5, or what was our other pullback range? Really quick, let's grab our fib. Let's go from this swing low to this swing high, and that was about $10. Back to our text, or 10. So wait for pullback to 8.5 or 10. Your stop loss is going to be under, I think that's like 5.8. Let's go down here. 5.84, yeah. Stop loss of 5.8 is fine. All right. And now we'll just leave this chart set up exactly how it is now. Like I would wait. So if I'm going to move this down, I would really, if you don't have a lot of capital or you're not an experienced trader, you don't want to just take trades that are kind of in the middle of ranges. You want to take trades that are at definite supports. So for this one, I would try to wait. I would be looking to buy around 8.5, and then with that take profit towards my top of my box up here. All right, so that's Atom. Let's do BNB. BNB just had a recent $600 million hack on their blockchain. There was like a double spend problem that they didn't solve. But overall, BNB has been doing very well, especially if we look at BNB compared to Bitcoin. We're not going to right this second, but BNB compared to Bitcoin has also been holding up very well. Now, when we look at this current market structure, right, what has it been doing? It's been putting in, it had that high point, it put in that low point, a higher low, a lower low, a higher low, and let's see if it comes down and puts in a lower low. But right now, market structure is trying to change, right? So if we were to draw our yellow line like we did with Atom, that yellow line would be about right here. Okay, why? Why is that yellow line right there? Let's really understand this. If we put in our support here, okay, well, I guess I should do support first, right? Why is it support? Because it comes down and taps right there and it holds. And if we look back, are there any other times it came to that area? It looks like we don't have enough data on this one. But the market was trending down. This asset was trending down, trending down, trending down, trending down. It found a slight bottom, and now it's starting to put in those higher highs and higher lows, meaning market structure is changing. Right? So we had this low point, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. I don't need to say it at this point, you guys get it. And so from, let's see here if I can. So in this middle range, you can see it is constantly was putting in higher highs and higher lows. And just recently it started to fall off here. But it is still having a slight support there. So let's run a quick fib from this swing low to this swing high up here. Mark off our 618 area, which is right there. And we'll get rid of that. So if I was looking at this asset, then I would be cautious again, just like I was with Atom, right? We want to try to take the best setups. And this isn't the best setup in my opinion. It is holding a strong support. So maybe I would first look at 261 to see if 261 holds. And then I would be looking at 235. And let's go ahead and just set this up if this was the case. There's our low. This is a box right here. These wicks are our last high. And we set our risk to reward 1.9. So it's not even a 2 yet, right? So not the best. I would be waiting a little bit on BNB. Try to catch it once it gets closer to that 236 range. Again, right now the whole market all depends on Bitcoin, right? So if Bitcoin's not doing well, the rest isn't going to do well. So shout out to Houston. He said he wants to check out ETH Classic, and then we're going to check out Gala. So let's go ahead and tap in and do both of those really quick. So let me leave this on the screen. So this will be ETH Classic, ETC. So ETH Classic had a slight run. Crypto, it had a slight run, but it seemed to, yep, it's been dying off. So back in July, it had a huge run once everyone found out that all the hash rate and all the miners were going to be leaving the original or leaving the Ethereum blockchain because it's now proof of stake, meaning that it comes to consensus. It validates transactions in a different way than proof of work. So Ethereum Classic is still proof of work, meaning the miners left regular Ethereum, came to Ethereum Classic, and that's why you saw this humongous pump. Because people were thinking that, oh, everyone's going to go to Ethereum Classic. But in reality, nothing happens on that chain. There's a website I'll drop in the Discord called Chain Activity, and it'll show you like all the things that actually happen on chains. And same thing with market structure, right? We can see market structure has been pointing us to the downside. So just be aware of that. Now let's jump in. First things first, let's throw some supports in. So we got a support right here, and we got the support down here. Held it there. It's actually, I mean, it's been in support for this whole time right here, but now let's run a fib. So we're going to run our swing low fib to our swing high up here. And let's find the 618. 618 here. Boom. Let's go ahead and mark that off. Awesome. Get rid of that. All right. So if you were doing a trade with Ethereum Classic, you would, in my opinion, right, I would want to wait until the price pulls back in between this yellow line and this yellow line. So between $22.58 and $24, so to speak. That's where I would want to make a buy, and then I would want my stop right under these candles here. So it's not as clear with this particular asset, but if you look, there was about a 2-week period right here where it really wouldn't go below about $19. So for me, that's where I would want, because we're assuming that these are going to be strong assets and continue to run, right? Like we're doing a swing. It's not like a quick trade. We are on a daily time frame. So remember, the daily time frame leads us into the thought idea for the next 3 to 7 days, sometimes longer, but that's like what I go off of. So I'm looking for something to happen over the next 3 to 7 days. Over the next 3 to 7 days, I want to see the price push down to around this area. If that does happen, then I want to take, once that does happen, then I want to take the next 3 to 7 days to see if the market is going to break underneath of this yellow line. And this is just my idea if I was taking this trade, right? I would want to wait the next 3 to 7 days for price to try to come down to this area. If price did come to that area and I like this asset, then I would go ahead and take this trade, and I would wait the next 3 to 7 days to see if the price breaks below this area. If it does not break below this area, that would give me good confidence that this support is going to hold, and then I would have my targets towards the top of this range, right? Now, I personally am not a huge fan of ETH Classic, so I'm not saying that I'm actually going to do this. I'm just saying this would be my thought process if I was looking into get into like something like this. And now let's go ahead and just throw on a long and short. And let's have our stop underneath this line, remember, and our take profit at the bottom of the box. But really, they usually try the top, but we always go for the bottom. 3 to 1, though. That's not bad. That's not a bad risk to reward, right? For every $1 you spend, you get back 3. So that's for EC. Now let's go ahead and add our note, because I think I forgot to do that for the last one. So we're going to wait until 22 to 24. Stop loss would be at 19, under 19. Jesus Christ. And then patience would be a big part of this one. You just want to be patient and wait for it to come down there. And we're good to go. We'll leave that up there, and we'll come back and check on this one next week. And now we got Gala. So I absolutely love Gala Games. I think that it's going to be a huge player moving forward. But the thing about technology is, if you're early, it's just as bad as if you're late, right? If you're too early, if you're too early of an adopter of new technology, it's just as bad as being late, or just as bad as being wrong. Because until people really understand and start to use it, then you're not going to see that value accrual that you really want to. Obviously, it had this humongous run up, and it's been sliding on the downside since. And if we mark off some of the areas of interest really quick, obviously this would be one up here. And then let me just go ahead and grab this. We'll just duplicate it. And then there's another one right here. And why are these areas of interest really quick? Just to kind of give a reminder, right? When we're making these higher highs and higher lows, everything again, going back to market structure, when you have that, and then it comes down and does this, and then boom, and then boom, and then it goes up, but then it comes back down. It has these little, these are called like little pops, little bounces. So you see the price comes all the way down right here, but then it bounces all the way up right there, right? Before just coming further back down. So that type of market structure, when you have these imbalances, see, this is an imbalance. So like, even though, so like that would be one there. This would be another one here. This would be another one here. This would be another one here. And before I get everyone all confused, let me stop doing that. Oh my goodness, come on now. All right, so those are imbalance zones. There's actually another one that we see, right? You see what I mean? All of this area. So the price came down and bounced, came back down, and then bounced again. So on this bounce right here, this area, right, that is an imbalance of the price is supposed to always catch back up. At some point, the prices catch back up to where they previously were. So that's why we mark these areas off. And so now we want to find the first area where the price is going to catch back up. Here's another imbalance area right here, right? But I like this one where we're at. Okay, so let's go into support. It's actually on support right now, but we can see that it's been, you know, very upsetting, obviously, the results that have been coming out of Gala. So play to earn gaming is not a great narrative right now, so we do have to take that into consideration. Although these are like the generation lows, right? This is where you I don't want to say that actually. But these are situations where the price gets so low, and then in 6 months, 12 months, whatever, the price is trading at like $4. This is arbitrary, just throwing numbers out. But like, say the price is trading at $4, and like, oh, the people that bought at 6 cents are so lucky. And it's like, I mean, it doesn't feel lucky, right? Like right now, like I don't, you know, you don't necessarily feel lucky to get in right now. It's scary, actually, you know, because the price has been going down for so long. But this is like, this is where the smart money buys. I'm not saying right this second. I'm not saying at these price levels. I'm saying distressed assets are where smart money buys. But okay, enough of that. So let's go ahead and throw a reverse fib on from this swing high down to this swing low. The first area we want to see get taken out is right here. Again, it's just between the 618, the 65, 0.65. And then if we were to long our stop, obviously under these new lows. So the risk to reward for this, for Gala, isn't too terrible. I would want to wait. I would want to get an entry closer to a point. Oh, I should type this out. And actually, let me say it while I do it. Okay, so the price over the last day has spiked, right? And when I say spike, it's just been up 3%. You always want to buy on red days. Right now, the candle is green. You don't necessarily want to buy on a green day. You want to buy on a red day. So if we just take price action into consideration, we want to buy at least when the price comes back towards the bottom of this candle. Somewhere between 0.040 and 0.041, about here. So anywhere on the bottom half of this particular candle. And that's just price action. So somewhere in the bottom half of this candle, because we want to see something like this where the price has, one second, price comes maybe like another here, and then another one up a little bit, and up a little bit, and then down a little bit, comes back to that area right there, right at the bottom of this candle, right? And the price comes down right to the bottom of that candle, we buy, and then it continues up. So that's what we're looking for. That's why I was saying the bottom of that candle. And the reason why the bottom of that candle is because it's not, you don't need to be particularly picky, right? Like the difference between, you know, the bottom of this candle, oops. It's about a 3% difference from the bottom of the candle to this line. I wouldn't be too picky there. Gala looks like a solid token to get into if you are ready to get out, right? You need to get out if the price breaks and makes new lows. So under 0.038. All right, so let's add that in. So buying up at 0.0407 through 0.041. stop loss is going to be underneath that 0.038, and been beaten up. Need narrative to return. So we need the gaming narrative to return. Most likely that's only going to happen if Bitcoin like starts to put in those higher highs, right? That market structure. But Gala actually, you know, everything looks bad in the market right now. But overall, like if Gala pretty much holds this support line right here, let's make this a 4. If it holds this support line, then like this could be really good. Even if it goes sideways for here for the next, let's say this is 2023 right here. So this yellow line is about 2023. The price could actually do something where it's just kind of sideways between here and here, all the way until 2023. And in my opinion, you know, every time it comes to this bottom side, that's $100, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm putting in $500 over the next 3 months to give me an average price, and then that's where I'm looking for that, you know, market to finally turn around. Again, these altcoins, I've said it a bunch of times, but you really, if Bitcoin is not doing well, then the altcoins are going to do terrible. So just make sure you have that in mind. All right, let's go through a few other ones. We did Atom, we did Gallad, we did ETH Classic. Let's do some of the Ape coin. Let's do like, that's a good altcoin people like. Let me remove all these drawings. And so you see that stochastic down here. The stochastic got down towards the bottom. That could be a good sign. And if we're just marking off our ranges, right? So this is just a range. See that range high? And then we got our range low. Oops. More like right here. Our hot range high, our range low. And if we run a fib from this swing low to this swing high, we can see the price is currently right around where we want it to be at that 618 level. So the price is close to where we want it to be. If you were super bullish, then this could be, you know, a good opportunity. I'm not super bullish on the market in general. This is not a terrible place to buy ApeCoin though. Between 420, 520. Let me throw this in so we can refer back to it next time. 420, 520. Good DCA range. Market depends on BTC, obviously. Avi. Stop loss would be under 3. Where we're going back down here. I'm not super confident in this altcoin, but again, I know I keep saying it. If Bitcoin's market structure starts to change, then this would be a solid play, right? Let's go back to Bitcoin for a minute and just really understand what's going on here. So this is my main Bitcoin chart. This is the one that I like to go off the most. This is actually different than the one we did earlier. I just added in the danger. I am looking for Bitcoin. So again, buying anytime it comes inside of this box. And if it just touches the top of this box, for me, that's a buy as well. We have the CPI numbers coming out. October 13th at 8:30 a.m. So let's go ahead back to the chart and find out where October 13th is and mark that off. So right here, cool. And we'll add text on that. All right, so up here you can see CPI print 8:30 a.m. Eastern. That's going to be this Tuesday. That could be a possible catalyst for something to happen, right? So, for example, let's say the CPI comes out and it is lower than what it had previously been, which would be a good thing. Then that could signal bullishness, bullish sentiment back into the market, right? That is only about, what, 4 or 5 days away? So that's a big catalyst. So for example, let's say for the next 2 days, today's the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. So let's say over the next 3 days, Bitcoin kind of goes sideways and kind of doesn't really do much at all. And so that's an example of the price going something like this, right? So one more day here, let's do one more day here, and one more day here, right? For me personally, I can't say for other people, but for me, I would really like that because this is where I would be looking to buy more. Well, I'm a trader, so I'd probably be entering a trade right there, and in hopes that we get a solid CPI print number, and then price moves back towards something like this where it starts making that bouncy run again. Now maybe it gets above here and comes back down and tests this box for a bit before continuing back on higher, right? So that for me would be like the scenario I want to see. And the same goes for altcoins, right? Say the price continues to trend down for the next 2 or 3 days. It gets inside our buy zone boxes. Then we get a good CPI print. That would be a catalyst to reverse that market structure, right? And give us that upward market structure. If we look at all those dashes I just made, it's the same as when I would do this, right? The price goes up, pulls back, and goes back up. It's the same exact thing. That's the market structure that we're looking for. So those are a few catalysts. Those are a few things that I'm looking for. That's what I would be checking out. If you want to do altcoins, then obviously make sure Bitcoin stays safe inside of this box. Again, that box is going to be between 18,600 and about 19,000, 19,100. So we've seen it just recently come back down into there. It came down to 19,150. Again, if the price comes under 19,150, for me personally, can't say for other people, I'm going to be buying and entering trades on that. And then with, again, my stop loss being aware about 17.5. So from that area, that's about a 5 to 7% drawdown if it does come. So something to be aware of. All right, we'll do like 2 more altcoins really quick and get out of here. I'm really bullish on Matic / Polygon. They've had a lot of partnerships. They've partnership with Disney. They partnershiped with Idris Sandu on his LNQ hardware drop, which was pretty sick. They're partnered with a few different people. So I really like what Matic has going on. If we can see the market structure, right? Market structure came up and now it's holding this as support. We want to see it come right back to this 74 area and then take back off. If we look at our boom, that's an imbalance right there. And let's say we were going to enter long. Let's see right here. We can have a tight stop loss under this because, again, this is assuming we're getting bullish momentum and assuming that it's going to be a bullish bounce for Bitcoin on these CPI numbers, right? So we have our stop underneath of these wicks here. We got our take profit closer to like here. There's a 3-to-1 setup on Matic. I actually like, this is probably the one I like the most so far. I liked Atom as well, but I really like this Matic setup. This is a nice setup. We just had this bullish push up. We consolidated sideways for a bit. We tried to break lower, but we held it at support. So we want to see it come one more time back into that support over, like I said, over the next 3 days, back into this area. We get a buy, and then we get that bullish sentiment to push us back up. And that is a 3-to-1 trade, so that's pretty solid. I actually like this one a lot. Like this. Buy zone 0.75, stop loss. Oops. 0.68. We'll do 0.67. And that's a solid one for Matic. All right, we'll do one more. If there's any you guys want to see, let me know. If not, I am going to just do Immutable. Another one I like a lot. It hasn't. So this is perfect. Like, so if we just look at Immutable's chart here compared to Matic's chart that we were just looking at. Where'd Matic go? You can see Matic, right? See how the structure's been going up and now it's kind of just going sideways, kind of like a bull flag almost. But then when you look at something like Immutable, it's just been chopping back and forth, left and right. You know, it's just been chopping up, chopping down, chopped up, chopped back down, chopped up, chopped back down, up, back down. It's not a great structure. It's more moving sideways because as soon as it gives you all this, it like takes most of it away. This one gave you a lot and then it took it all away. What do I mean by that? Well, if we look right here where it came down, it pushed up. It went up 56%, which was great, but then it came back down about 40%, right? So it's like nothing really to be had there. So still not a terrible setup if it holds the support. I actually like it as a buy right now. Like the dollar cost right now for me seems fair enough because our stop is going to be under these previous lows. So not quite at it, but a little bit under it there. And then our take profit, you could have your first take profit at this resistance, or if you want to go for more gusto, at the bottom of this box here. I really like Immutable. They also have a lot of partnerships, and Gary Vee has his clothing line that he just did with some famous designer named Kim. But Gary Vee is also a part owner of Immutable X, and he runs a lot of things through them. So, you know, not too big to fail by any means, but they do have a solid backing on what they do. So I really like IMX as well. So let's throw this in here. Current buy. Stop. Oh, that's not a question mark. Stop loss under 65 cents. And we'll see how this plays out. All right. So that's really all I have for you guys, man. I appreciate y'all tapping in and checking some of these out with me. Hop into the Discord. If you don't have a link to the Discord, let me go ahead and add it right now. Invite people. Copy. So inside of the video description, I'm going to go ahead and link to Discord. Damn, they ain't trying to let my link get off? What's good? There we go. All right, so link to Discord is in the description below. Appreciate y'all for tapping in with me, man. We had the technical difficulties, but we made it work. I'm going to go watch some football. Enjoy your day. Peace out, fam. Catch you on the next one.